How do I properly package my trading cards to send in for grading? This is a question I get asked on a daily basis. So I'm going to walk you through step by step on how to properly package your cards to send them in for grading. Whenever you're sending cards in for grading, you're trying to accomplish two things. You want to get your cards to the grading company as safely as possible. And the second thing is you want to make the grader's life easy as possible. So we're going to go through how I manage to do those two things whenever I submit my cards. First thing you want to do is you want to put your valuable cards inside of a penny sleeve. This is an Ultra Pro penny sleeve. They're normally the cheapest penny sleeve, and they're also the highest quality in my opinion. There's a lot of other good brands out there, but I normally just use the Ultra Pro penny sleeves. They're perfect size, very, very high quality. I've never had a problem with them. The second thing you want to do is you want to place your cards into a semi-rigid card holder. Grading companies do require a semi-rigid card holder for your submissions. I use Ultra Pro and I use Card Saver 1s. This is an Ultra Pro semi-rigid. The Card Saver 1 is very similar in size. They're the two highest quality semi-rigids in my opinion. I've never had a problem with dirt, dust, water, moisture, anything like that with these two companies. You could pick up a box of semi-rigids for right around $18 now for Card Saver 1s. The Ultra Pros are a little bit more expensive, so right now I'm buying Card Saver 1s whenever I do need them. Whenever you go to place your card inside of the semi-rigid, I hold my semi-rigid. I put my thumb at the bottom, and then I put my 3 fingers on the end here to hold it in place. I take my index finger to open up the semi-rigid. I start sliding the card in from the bottom corner, and then I slide it the rest of the way in using my 2 fingers on the opposite hand. I've never had a card crease, damaged, anything like that by doing that method. A lot of people will push it in from the top, but in my opinion, that's a good way to damage the edges of your card. So just be really, really careful whenever you're placing your cards into your semi-rigid. The next thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you have a couple pieces of cardboard to sandwich your cards. So I have some pre-made already. It doesn't really matter what size that you have. If you don't have one pre-made already, just take a piece of cardboard like this. You can use a cardboard box, something you got from Amazon, whatever you want to use. You could just trace the outside of your semi-rigid with a pen, and then when you go to cut it out, just leave a little bit of space so you have additional room. You do not want the piece of cardboard to be smaller than your cards, but simple process. Just trace the card saver, leave a little extra room. That way the cards completely fit inside of the cardboard sandwich. A very important thing, this helps out the graders, and like I mentioned, you always want to keep the graders happy. They are the ones who put the grades on your cards, is just label the outside of your cardboard with what cards are on the inside. So on your submission form, you do have to put them in order. So if you have cards 1 through 30 on the inside of your cardboard sandwich, just put 1 through 30 on the outside of your cardboard. If you have cards 55 through 72, just put that on the outside of your cardboard, so that way whenever they're going through your submission, they can do it in order as efficiently as possible and as easily as possible. You want to make sure to keep those graders happy. There is a human element to grading cards, and the easier you make their lives, the easier the process goes, and the less likely they're just going to be upset with you and give you a bad grade. I'm sure they don't actually operate like that, but just in case, just make sure you make their life as easy as possible. The cardboard sandwich will look like this once you are done. You always want to make sure that you have a little bit of a lip, so the rubber bands that you're going to use to secure them do not press on the semi-rigid card savers on the inside. The biggest thing you want to avoid whenever you're shipping cards is you do not want to use tape for any part of this process. You don't want to use tape to secure your cardboard sandwich. You don't want to use tape whenever you bubble wrap your cards. You do not want to use anything that could leave a sticky residue on any of your stuff on the inside of your package. You don't want a sticky residue on the grader's hands. You don't want a sticky residue anywhere near your valuable cards. After you make your cardboard sandwich, you do want to choose the cards you want to put on the inside to send in for grading. So this is a stack of cards that I'm going to be sending in for grading here. I never put more than 30 cards on the inside of each one of these sandwiches. You can make as many of those as you need. After you put the cards in order, how they appear on your submission form, and you place them between your cardboard sandwich, you want to use rubber bands to secure your card. You don't want to use tape. You don't want to use anything else besides just plain rubber bands. I always put 2 rubber bands going vertical, and then I also put 2 rubber bands going horizontal across my cardboard sandwich. You do not want to put too many rubber bands because you just don't want a ton of pressure on your cards. A little bit of pressure is okay. That's what holds them in place. But normally I just put 2 vertical, 2 horizontal, and that properly secures the cards. That way they're not moving around inside of the cardboard sandwich. They might move just a little bit, and if they're still moving around a little bit, add an extra rubber band just to make sure that they're not moving around at all. These are still moving around a little bit, so I'm going to add another rubber band to it, just so they're as secure as possible. If you don't want your cards moving around at all, that's a good way for them to get damaged when they're being shipped. After you make your cardboard sandwich, with your semi-rigids on the inside, you do want to have some sort of protection around this as well. A lot of people will use bubble wrap. A lot of people will use just a bubble mailer. Either one of these is fine. If you use a bubble mailer, it's a lot easier. You can just slide your cardboard sandwich into the bubble mailer, and then it's got that extra security. You can also wrap your cardboard sandwich inside of bubble wrap. Once you have it bubble wrapped, you still do not want to use tape. This is the biggest mistake I see a lot of people make. They'll use tape to secure down the bubble wrap when all you want to do is just use another rubber band. You do not want to have tape anywhere near your cards. You do not want tape anywhere inside of the box with your submission. So just take another rubber band and you can secure the bubble wrap in that way. You don't even have to really use a rubber band. You can just place the bubble wrapped cards inside of your box and it's going to be fine. You don't want to use a very big box. You want to use a box that's very close in size to what your cards are going to be, and then you want to fill in the empty space around it to keep your cards as secure as possible. After you place your cards inside the box, obviously you want to put your graded card submission from PSA, CGC, whoever you're using to grade your cards. You want to put the submission form on the inside of the box. Once you have your cards on the inside, all of the empty space filled, and the submission form placed on the inside of your box, you do want to use tape to close up the box. That is the only time you want to use tape in your submission, is to close the box at the very end. I'm going to leave a link down below to another awesome video. Make sure you guys check that out, and I'll see you in the next one.